treatments to get it done. But the basic science for how to get out of Earth orbit and get to the moon and back was known in 1961, so that Kennedy could make that promise with the knowledge that with sufficient investment could be achieved. A decade later, I think it was 1970, Richard Nixon declared a war on cancer. But at that time, a promise couldn't be made about cures for cancer, or even transforming cancer into a manageable chronic disease, because the basic understanding didn't exist. That there wasn't the basic understanding of the cellular and molecular basis of the various diseases that are categorized as cancer. Today, Nixon in 1970 on cancer was like if Abraham Lincoln had said we're going to put a man on the moon. But now it's like Kennedy and the moon. It's a matter of following through on the science that is done. So it's this time of incredible hope and more than hope, promise. But it requires an ongoing investment throughout the ecosystem of innovation, public investment, but very importantly, and all too often overlooked, private sector investment, which is the majority of the investment in biomedical innovation in this country. And it's not easy to do. Bringing a new drug to market on average costs over $1.2 billion. The most difficult therapeutic area with sort of the toughest odds, requires sort of the most shots on goal to be successful in oncology. This sort of good news. So our company's involved in a lot of orphan drugs to treat rare diseases. A lot of cancers, and a lot of blood cancers in particular, are rare cancers. So the number of orphan drug designations for potential new treatments for rare diseases has increased steadily, but the number of approvals of actual new treatments has remained steady, sort of showing that the odds are getting continually more challenging. 12 years, 1.2 billion, a lot of failure required to be successful. A lot of failure required to be successful in drug development. And this incomprehensible slide is meant to demonstrate the life cycle of a new treatment. 10 to 12 years to develop a drug. A year on average at the FDA, a period of exclusivity where the innovator gets the chance to bring the new therapy to market for an average of 10 to 12 years, and then an indefinite period at which products are available at low cost as generic medicines. I think this is a particularly important point if you think about the entire categories of medicines that are now available very inexpensively in generic form. The major innovations in a lot of primary care areas in the last 15 years now available at extremely low cost. And that's the way the system should work. And it puts real incentives to the innovator companies. They got to come up with something new. You can only be successful as an innovator company when you're delivering to the healthcare system or something new that adds a new and added value for patients. Because the prior technology is so good and is available very inexpensively in generic form. Even after that 12 years and $1.2 billion, just 2 of 10 new medicines recover their R&D costs. So the winners win big, but the winners cover a lot of misses in terms of return on investment. Last 5 years, private sector R&D spend has been slowing. And then I talk about the venture capital side, it has been slowing as well. So there's a pressure on new investment. Right? So at this time of unprecedented promise, the challenges facing our private what's happening in terms of intellectual property policy, what's happening in terms of regulatory policy, very importantly, what's happening in terms of access and reimbursement policy. If new therapies aren't going to be available through the healthcare system, there's not going to be the investment from the entrepreneurs in developing them and bringing them to market. However, I'll just conclude by there is great promise, and companies like Celgene are determined to deliver on them. This simply makes the point that across all different sectors of the economy, the average R&D expenditure per employee, so across all American industry, the average R&D expenditure per employee is just under $10,000. In the biopharmaceutical sector, the average R&D investment per employee is over $105,000. At Celgene, the average R&D expenditure per employee is $265,000. Our company spends about 25, just over 25% of its revenue before taxes, its gross revenue reinvested in R&D. That's the internal market test. Okay, anytime you want to spend money, it's okay. The test is what impact could that have for investing in clinical trials? That's important, but driving new innovation, driving new years. And there's a lot in the pipeline across the biopharma sector. Nearly cancer, nearly 1,000 new cancer treatments in development. A lot of those won't make it, but some of them will. And the ones that will make it because they offer progress and they're great for patients. So as I mentioned, to maintain that environment for the private sector innovation, strong intellectual property protection, which the United States enjoys, pro-innovation regulatory environment, which similarly the U.S. FDA and FDA Safety and Innovation Act passed by Congress last year, a lot of pro-innovation initiatives to bring breakthrough therapies to patients faster. But very important, and probably the area where the greatest question marks exist, are whether public policies in particular will promote access to medical innovation, especially in publicly funded healthcare programs like Medicare and